Johannesburg businessman Adam Catzavelos appeared in the Randburg Magistrate's Court this morning. His case has been postponed to August the 29th for the Director of Public Prosecutions to make a decision on whether to prosecute him. He's charged with crimen-injuria after a video of him using the K word went viral last year. Catzavelos was on a beach in Greece when he recorded himself bragging about the lack of black people using the K word several times. At his last court appearance, his lawyer said he'd received a letter from Greek authorities where he could face prosecution as well. We now cross live to our reporter Chriselda Lewis at the Randburg Magistrate's Court. Chriselda, a very good morning to you. Just take us through what happened this morning.
Well, Desiree, it was a very brief appearance here at the Randburg Magistrate's Court. We had anticipated that the case itself would be postponed. Indeed, it was postponed. It will now be heard on the 29th of August. And according to the court, we do understand is that representations that Adam Catzavelos, through his lawyers, had made to the Director of Public Prosecutions had only arrived at this court on the 5th of July. So the state does need more time to go through those representations before they are sent to the Director of Public Prosecutions. So the expectation is that at the next court sitting on the 29th of August, that's when we will get a decision from the Director of Public Prosecutions on whether they will prosecute in this particular matter. You would know, of course, that the video itself that went viral was taken on Greek soil. So now you alluded to a letter that the Greek authorities have also written to Adam Catzavelos through his lawyers. I managed to get a glimpse of that letter here this morning, and it seems that Adam Catzavelos is facing quite a number of charges in Greece. We understand he was scheduled to be in Greece last month but could not make that court appearance. There's no date that has been communicated to his lawyers at this stage about when he's expected back in that country to answer to charges relating to hate speech laws. But what we do know at this stage is that the charges relate to publicly inciting and provoking acts of discrimination against a certain group of persons. That's according to the letter that SABC News and other media were able to see this morning. So the woes continue to pile up for Adam Catzavelos in that he has to answer to this instance in this particular court. The Greek authorities are also after him over that video that went viral, and also the Human Rights Commission. A case has been laid there, and he would need to sit before the Human Rights Commission to answer to that video that went viral. So the matter itself postponed to the 29th of August. So that's when we're expecting a decision from the Director of Public Prosecutions on whether they will continue to prosecute in this particular instance, because the representations that he has made to the Director of Public Prosecutions only arrived at this court on the 5th of July. So now the state says it still needs to go through those representations. But a bit earlier on, I spoke to Adam Catzavelos, and you'd recall during the last court appearance, he expressed remorse and saying it was an act of madness. And he says that he's been going through a very difficult time, but he's prepared both here in South Africa to answer to the charges against him, as well as in Greece. He's prepared to suffer the consequences of his actions.
Chriselda, the EFF membership has been making sure to attend these court appearances. Were they anywhere to be seen today, this morning?
Oh, that's right. I actually see Mandisa Mashiko here. I don't know if we can bring her in, Sis Mandisa, very quickly. I'm being asked about the EFF's presence here, so I might as well bring you in. Mandisa Mashiko, yes. Thank you very much for your time. You've been quite consistent here at this court, yes, saying that racists must fall. That has been your wording. The case now postponed to the 29th of August for a decision by the Director of Public Prosecutions. What would you want to see in that decision?
Yes, we still need to have a formal meeting now with the prosecutor as the complainants, just to get the official position, because the last time we spoke, they were preempting that the defense would bring issues of jurisdiction, etc. But they'd also confirmed that the Greek authorities, as you know, have also mounted a case, the criminal case against him, and of course the equality courts. So we're very happy because there's, 3 different processes underway. One which is at an international level, because Interpol did assist, and so we are here just to continue pushing, and with the hope that at least on the 29th 9th of August, a trial will begin, because we can't keep on sustaining, never-ending postponements. We need him to go to trial, and he needs to go to trial urgently, because the more and more cases we have that give precedence, the more of a stronger case we will have to push our motion to have racism criminalized.
We see quite a number of these cases coming up in South Africa, and others would perhaps say it is due to the difficult past that South Africa comes from. But what message do you think could be sent through this particular case to ensure that incidents of racism will not be tolerated in South Africa, and indeed, as you say, should be criminalized?
Yes. So you can't, manage or regulate people's private behavior and conduct. That's a fact. However, there's certain things that need to happen. One, the land expropriation motion in Parliament without compensation needs to be advanced, because the core driver of racism is inequality, racial inequality. The white supremacist behavior of white people in South Africa is actually fed by black poverty, and fed by black inferiority complex as well. And as soon as black people can regain their dignity, and as soon as we can get back land and start dealing with the issues of economic inequality and get black people into careers, career progression, get black people to get out of poverty, then the issue of race becomes a minimal issue. You must remember that it doesn't mean anything when someone is racist. However, when you can clearly see a difference between you and that person in terms of your social status, it does affect your self-esteem, your self-image, how you view yourself. And so we want black people first and foremost to have economic equality, get land back, and be in a dignified space, and then be empowered to deal with racists themselves. Part of the reason we embark on such exercises of opening cases, even not just of criminality in the state, but of racism, is one, like I said before, we want racism to be criminalized so that it's a standard thing and we don't just rely on precedents. But the second thing is that we want individuals to understand that the EFF cannot be in your house, sleep with you, go to work with you. And so when a white person or any other person attacks you with racism and racial abuse, you have a right to go to a police station, open a case of racism. You can't be forced to say, no, reduce the case of racism to crimen-injuria, because crimen-injuria and racism are two separate things. We also need academia and researchers to start doing more work in that space to actually say what has been the total effect of racism against black people and the pursuing, or rather persistent, incidents of racism. Some of them are violent, as you know, physically. Of course, the violence of the, psychological violence is also there. But some of the racist attacks actually become violent. Rapes happen, murders happen on farms, etc., with farm workers being the majority of the victims. And so there's a huge, huge impact of racism on our society. And so this case needs to give us a sound basis to push harder for its criminalization.
Right, thank you very much for your time, Mandisa Mashego of the EFF. That answers your question, Desiree. The EFF are also present here today. And of course, they've been calling for the criminalization of racism, basically. That's the sentiment that she's been sharing. And back again at this court on the 29th of August, of course, when we're expecting a decision from the Director of Public Prosecutions, on whether they will continue to prosecute in this matter. Back to you in studio.
Our colleague there from outside the Randburg Magistrates Court, Chriselda Lewis.